What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, club swing traders? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling like nothing is safe. Well, nothing is safe actually. So hopefully, you guys just have a good day. Let's go with that. Maybe everything kind of get a little clobbered. I guess maybe I hope you guys feel like Coca-Cola, AT&T. Maybe we'll find a little safety there. Bonds, maybe you guys feel a little like Bonds. They're doing okay. Everything else kind of getting a little crushed. But we got AJ now. Good morning to you. Good morning to Albert, Amy, Anna, Andrew, Andy, Bill, Brian. Good morning to DK, Frank, Joe, Kevin. Lauren is in the house. Good morning to Lou, Malik, Mark, Marius, Michael, Rob. Rob's in the house. Good morning to Tim, Wendy, William. All my people out at YouTube land. Clarice, good morning. Mustafa says gold for Clarice. Yeah, Clarice, first one in. I like to make everybody happy. Clarice, you'll take platinum today. Mustafa, this way you can still get gold. I still like when you get the gold, so it's all right. We got Richard and House. Good morning to you. Good morning to Ray. All my lurkers in the background of YouTube. Just not gonna say nothing all day. It's okay. I still love you. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. But ooh, Kevin says stocked up on ramen noodles. Yeah. Maybe we could buy some ramen noodle stock. I don't even know what that ticker would be. Do they have a ticker that's just spells out the word delicious? Because it is. Got me through college. Got me through college. But we got SPY with a massive gap down based off of tariffs. Interesting after hours action last night. So Trumpy did the 1-2 step last night. He came out 4 o'clock to the Rose Garden, looking quite dapper in his suit, got in front of the mic and said, we're having a baseline tax or tariff of 10%. The market said, well, we thought that was going to be 20. You got a nice little boost on it, nice little pump, everything looked good. And then he pulled out the chart. He does love charts. He pulled out a good looking chart, nicely formatted, probably I want to say maybe somehow created with Excel, but it's the US government. They probably had a better technology than Excel, but the numbers on there were a little bit pretty crazy in terms of the tariff. So some individual companies, a lot of individual companies, some of them are at that baseline 10%, but then I think China was like 34, 35%. You had some Europe was getting taxed pretty heavily. Canada didn't make the list, unfortunately, but because they've already been getting the tariff, so you didn't have to. There was just no room, I don't think, on the chart. The paper was only so big. But other than that, yeah, market was like, okay, this is actually way more than we thought it was. And keep in mind, it's still Trump, so we'll have to see where things go from here. We have a couple countries already starting to say, let's negotiate, let's figure this out. You have some other countries that are just going to go with some reciprocal tax. And now we have to sit through how this thing plays out. The number one thing about all of this is uncertainty. We don't know which companies are coming to the table. We don't know which companies are going reciprocal tax. We don't know if I'm guessing there's some wiggle room in some of that with other just based on how Trump has kind of handled other situations, but we don't know. We don't know how this thing plays out and what the end goal is and how we get there. So market's gonna hate that. Absolutely just hate it. You're seeing the response from the SPY. The zone I really wanted to hold was 550. I think Yates had a target of like 555. I know where he's getting that from. And I agree that would have been a good one. 551.46 would have been cool. But 550 was kind of my line in the sand of like, hey, if we open up, if we could, I mean, that was one of the quickest sell-offs, massively big sell-offs we've seen in a very, very long time, if not ever, including COVID days. But very, very quick drop on this one. So we started to come back a little bit. We looked like maybe we could. They're not even showing the real after hours up here, but the SPY did end up getting back to that 550, but just use it as a little bit of resistance. So watch that resistance for today if we get up there. The market's going to be moving pretty quick today. So typically, when that happens, generally try to move a little bit slower. Let the market kind of deal with what it's got to deal with, shake out who it's got to shake out, let some of this develop, and then look to get your play when you have good actual probable setups on the table. So we'll see what happens, but for right now, pretty disastrous gap down. It is definitely a gap and go. No doubt about it. Over the last 3 days, we are now taking out all levels. We've taken out levels from this candle, which is your 618, right at that 550, which is kind of why I like that number a little bit. Going back a little bit, I guess your next immediate target. Let's see if we could get up to 545.29 in a bullish direction. See if we can start to break through that at all. Other than that, I've got some next support somewhere around 541.47. So kind of in the middle of both of those. I don't know that today is a day that I really love going bullish. There's actually some names that kind of look interesting in a bullish direction. Volume to the side, we're still getting held up. We have some decent volume that could give us some support, and that comes in right around this 541.90 zone. So we just talked about that. So that's gonna be my hard support for today. Anything below that, I think the next level takes us down to about 528.76, and then we probably got into like 522.19. So if you're a buy the dipper, take a take a chill pill, relax a little bit. I don't know that at least the first 15 minutes of the day might be by the dip, but we'll see. The market has given us a few days. We made this comment yesterday, I think during live trading. There's been a few days now, 3 days, where we look like we're just opening in complete disaster zone, and then we just make some incredible just pushes. Is today that day? I don't know. I don't see it. I don't. I mean, that would be difficult. I think your stretch target for today in a bullish direction, if it happens, look for like 551.51, and that's going to put us in an interesting spot. If somehow you make it back to 557.65, everyone's going to be just scratching their heads and trying to figure out what's going on. But we're down a lot, makes it tough to go short. Doesn't mean it's time to go long though, so be careful. Be careful. We got the Qs. Qs are also gapping down on the last 3 days. Looks very similar to the SPY. We are opening a little bit closer to some support. If we could get there, we got 454.05. And then your next target to the downside, 449.67. Let's see some of that volume on the side. Unfortunately, not a lot holding us up. Couple spots. One is where we're at now. The next spot takes me into, and these are small levels, but 452.01. Really until we get back to like 446.45, all the way to like 438.56. So somewhere in that zone, we don't really have much holding us up at this point on the Qs. So that's not a good look. And whether we take a quick bounce today and then we start giving it back tomorrow, I'm not sure how we get there. But there's not a lot of support in this zone for Qs. So be very, very cautious. Mustafa says big moves, including on currencies, very bad for US. These tariffs. Reality will prove to be the opposite of Trump's speech. Um, we'll see. We'll see, Mustafa. I think if all tariffs are left this, I think if tariffs are all left the same at the rates that they're at, I think that could be tough. That could be very, very tough. Um, I don't know that all those levels are going to stay where they're at. I think if Trump comes out, let's say, and goes every country 20% flat rate, and this is an interesting point. If he comes out and goes every country 20%, in that case, then that's where all the countries go. Okay, and all the people still upset no matter what you do, right? So what are you going to do from there? Now okay, let's make a deal. Let's lower it. If he comes out and goes, China, you get 35% tariffs, and then they go, okay, let's negotiate down to 10%, 15%, 20%. Now all of a sudden it looks like a good deal, and I think the U.S. actually probably or Trump does decrease that deficit. By the way, those numbers, the first column, they're this is the crazy part. Not the whole everything in life, I guess, is a little bit crazy. I think I'm TV is horrible. They have not been able to make a good show in a while because everything in reality is just outpacing it by so much. But if you have that first column, they're saying like China's charging us 67, 69%, whatever it was, tariffs. That's not really tariffs. He's actually going off the trade deficit. So the numbers where he's starting with, he's kind of going straw man out of the gate and then running from there. So very, very interesting. But Bitcoin back underneath that 200 EMA. You also have 82,435 is your next target to the high side. Otherwise, you are opening at a little bit of support. If we could hang into this 81,922, otherwise your next target to the downside takes you about $1,300 down. So you got about 80,669. And that's your last untested VPOC. So anything past that, you're probably looking at just candle lows. 78,561 is a big one, and then you probably back it down into the 76.5 region. So crypto, it's life support. But yeah, yeah. The question is, where does this all lead us? Like, how does this picture look at the end of 4 years? And you can pick your picture. Let's go one more thing though too. Actually, one more thing before we get into some tickers that I see you guys got coming in. Let's go back. Um, in a very Warren Buffett type sense, right? So where's our COVID? Here's our COVID crash, right? Markets were relatively at all-time highs, and we got that COVID crash, and fear panic came in. Then we got into almost like, okay, double top. We've recovered fully from COVID. We didn't see that happening so quickly, and then all of a sudden you got new higher highs. You got some pivots up here. Okay, this is the end of the market. That's it. And then you got some pivots and you got new highs, right? Eventually, at some time in history, I don't know when, it could either be next week. I don't think so, but it could be next week or it could be 10 years from now. I have no idea. But at some point in this market, we will have another new higher high. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking, and we watch as traders, we watch this market all day, every day. So we could get caught up in the very small details. If you're working a 9 to 5 job, you're contributing to a 401k, you're not paying attention at all you're doing, you might see some headlines of why the stock market is bad and go, man, my account is down a lot. But you're not really having fear, panic. You're just okay. It is what it is. I still have to work and still make my income and I'm still contributing to my 401k. Nothing's different. All right, so everything, just keep in mind, don't panic. This is still a relatively small move from where we started in this overall thing, but we could see a much bigger move down, which would be interesting. Eventually, at some point, these there will be some buying opportunities, and I'm not saying that those opportunities are today. All right, let's see. We got Trump tore the band-aid off. Yeah, he went full go big, go home. You got Palantir. Palantir, looking a little bit rough. You do have a little bit of support. Not sure how strong that support will be, but it is a gap and go. You got 81.26. If that breaks down, your next level that I see is about 79.71. After that, you got 78.87. And that's probably gonna be my level for today, unless things get really, really crazy and we're just dying all day. That's 78.73 would be my kind of stretch target. Takes you right into that 100, so it gives you about $2 to $3 for about $3 to the downside on a stretch target. Anything crazier would get you to about 74.23. We'll see how that wants to hold up. We'll get that one a little bit higher. Um, I don't know if you guys threw out Tesla yet, but Tesla's an interesting one for today too. I didn't check the levels where we're opening, but so you have, and there's going to be these companies in here. So we had good news yesterday for Tesla, where where Trump said that Elon is going to be stepping down probably sometime in May from Doge. The market loved it. You got an incredible rip, absolutely fantastic close. Looks good. Obviously, with tariffs, the rest of the market, you have everything kind of coming down a little bit. But you have a lot of things breaking previous pivots. Tesla's not doing that yet. We are actually holding a little bit of support. You're probably at about the 618 retracement of yesterday's move. And Tesla's made in America, so all of the tariff talk isn't going to be probably in fact, they probably benefit off of everything that happened yesterday. Where they might not benefit going forward is they do sell a lot of cars internationally, especially China, which is big growth for them. If there's reciprocal tax, then that starts to, I think, come in and hurt Tesla. So I don't think we're in the clear yet. But very interesting that it did not drop. It did not give back that full day. It's already kind of low. So I'm going to be watching this one, see if you get some kind of balance. Again, just on relative strength, it's obviously down. But relative strength compared to some other names, it is actually holding kind of okay, and you're opening at a support. So we'll see if maybe there's a play on that one as well. Let's see. We got Coinbase is looking kind of extremely rough. Maybe we might. I mean, again, it's down a lot. So is the rest of the market. Uh, I would have liked to see this one open at 169.60. It did not. So if you get any kind of bounce, and maybe that's happening pre-market, but any kind of high wave candle, this one I think probably has some more room to the downside. You're coming into a little bit of support, 167.53. You're looking at like 164.51, somewhere in that zone. So it does have some maybe bigger, longer term support down here, a little bit lower. I wouldn't go long yet until you start clearing out this level though. So I think I like it to the short side. I think I do like that to the short side. I think we're trapping a lot of bulls probably everywhere, but we will see. We got Nvidia on the list, NVDA. That one looks incredibly difficult. Again, man, it's gonna be tough to rate some of these gaps. Nvidia looks like a fun short though. Clearing all sorts of levels. I would love to see some kind of buying, get me a little bit higher, even into like 104.58 zone. Otherwise, my target on this one would take me to about 102.65. It doesn't really give me much room to work with. The only thing that might on some of these levels that I'm talking support is you're trapping a lot of bulls from yesterday. So that might be enough pressure to take this down, and then your next target lands you at $100.53, which gives me a little bit better risk reward if that's the goal I'm shooting for. Otherwise, I'm kind of hoping we get a little bounce. 104, high 104s, 105.37, somewhere in that range would be a decent, like, okay, maybe there's your next, like a much better spot for shorting. But it does look weak. I don't know. Yeah, Lawrence says everything looks the same. Some things do. Let's take a look real quick at Hood since you guys want to see that one. Ray says, do you think a lot of shorts will lock in profits today? Maybe. That if they do, like I said, I don't know that today's the day to buy things. Like even like a longer term sense, long term accounts. I don't know if today's the day to buy. But if you get that quick bounce at the open, there is some people probably going into this tariff. I mean, we went up before the tariff before we got the tariff announcement. We had an incredibly bullish day yesterday. I didn't think we were running that direction that hard. So we added a couple more bulls to that roster, and I think some people that have said, okay, why are we up before tariff talk? Maybe took some shorts out, and this is a good opportunity for them to lock some serious gains in. Otherwise, you got Hood. This one again, gap and go, still not really breaking that pivot. We've been lower. That's what I'm saying. I don't. The market looks rough, but we've been recently lower than some of these prices on the screen. So it's just happening so quickly. Line in the sand on this one, 36.32. So if you'd like to short it, maybe that's your target. If you think it could break out, then you're gonna have to find your own levels on this one. I got nothing else. The next level down from there is about 34.98 and maybe that 200, but we've been lower. This is not that realistically that crazy. It's percentage wise a decent gap down, but we were literally just here. Um, some of the other names like T, like I said before, they are like T's having a gap and go. So some of the safety plays maybe get a little extra boost if the selling just absolutely continues. Coca-Cola getting a gap and go to the bullish side. I didn't see MO gap and go, but that one's looking a little more range bounds, got a little more resistance below you. So I'm not sure. Lucian says with the massive gaps, I'm not sure gap and go is a way to play them. They are big gaps. That's going to make it difficult. Andy's already looking at the moon calendar. Says next full moon is April 12th. Maybe a good bounce then. Yeah, we gotta look for some positivity. Trump gonna tweet later. It was all late. Yeah, he said best time to do an April's Fool joke is not April 1st. Everyone's expecting it. You think he you think the VIX will break 28 today? Well, you spelled U with a U, so I pulled that up as a ticker instinctively first. So we'll take a look at that one, and that is Gap and Go. That one's kind of looking rough. Again, first support, I don't know if it's a huge one. No, I don't think so. Unity actually might have a little room on it to the downside. I think we could break through that first target, and then you're probably looking for just maybe under $18 as a target. So on a $19 stock, that's a decent amount of room still left. So accidentally, we were going to throw this one a little bit higher as well. Let's take a look at the VIX. Do I think it's going to break 28 today? I think most likely. Yeah, you're running into a potential double top up here. You do have some tweezers, obviously. That's a tough one. Yeah, I think it probably does. I don't know that. I think it does. If it does, it's going to happen early in the morning. If it doesn't happen in the first 30 minutes, then I don't think so. We got Baba. Yeah, with this size gap down, it's going to make it a little tougher. We're going greedy shorts if you're shorting, but also there's probably going to be an initial, just I would assume, quick fear panic, and then people have time to assess. The only positive out of everything is we now know, kind of, we now know what the tariffs look like. We know which companies are getting hit. We know the penguins are getting taxed. Like we know a lot more information than we did yesterday at this time. So we have that. What we don't really know is how long they last and what the negotiations are and what's the fallout from here. So Baba is that's looking a little bit rough. You do have resistance. I don't know. You got 125.82 is your resistance. So anything above that gets you a little bit more room. You really want to start to clear 126.95. If you can do that, you have a more full on retest. At least this one already sold off yesterday, so a little bit more case that this is a retest gap as opposed to a gap and go. But I'm not loving that first little resistance. Maybe if this can come down a little bit more, 124.41, bounce off there. If that 124.41 breaks, now you have a really good spot to short all the way down to like 119. That might be a play, but you're kind of in shop zone at the moment. I feel mostly confident today will be the low, possibly reverse. For like longer term, I don't know. My one issue, we'll see what happens. I mean, if volume comes in, the Bulls rampage all day. This could be like that August, what is it, August 5th day. I don't know. There's still a lot of uncertainty. Mustafa's saying the bear market will last around 2 years. It's possible. Usually a bear market, roughly about 18 months on average. We'll see. We also know Trump is king of the deal, so most likely can discount half of what he proposed. But you see how he just created a whole urgency. Companies that will never come to the table to talk or negotiate or have any reason to, now they have urgency to get to the table and talk and discuss things. Some other retail names, Lulu was getting clobbered this morning. That was a pretty big gap down. I think some of their clothes comes from Vietnam. Vietnam was getting hit. I think that was a little bit more unexpected that they were actually going to get hit. But yeah, they're getting clobbered. Nike is another one down a lot, but again, this gap is so massive into a little support. I was like, oh, am I going to be able to buy something today? Am I going to add some stuff to the long term potentially? Nike, Lulu would be one of them that I do look for. Nike might be another one. I like the brand. I like the name. I think in 10 years, Nike's still around. This is a really, really good price I was kind of waiting for. Kind of wanted maybe under 50. I don't know. Nothing really holding us up. We're in essentially no man's land. Let's see how far back we got to go. Flip this to a monthly chart. You got on a monthly basis some relatively decent support right around here. That's one that I would consider. But they're getting quite clobbered. I don't know if I have really any levels even on a monthly basis. Right around here is an interesting bounce spot. And if we're looking at this monthly retest, on this gap. That is a monthly retest. There might be a bull play on Nike. Might be down enough. Even the last 3 days that we're kind of pushing as a gap and go, all of that happened in that last real candle on a daily. So that might be a bullish play. Maybe I'm gonna scoot that one higher. We'll see. As soon as he renegotiates with one country, we take off. The big ones I think are Europe and China. We need Europe and China. I think most of the action that he took yesterday, with just including every country, if he could bring all these smaller countries to the table, and then all of a sudden now you have China and Europe holding out still, eventually there might be enough pressure where they can kind of make some kind of deal in regards to that. USO is, yeah, oil got a little bit clobbered yesterday. Big support on this one. You got $72.04, so we're pretty close to the bottom on USO, or not bottom, but maybe really good support. Anything past 72.04, maybe I don't want to play that one to the long side, but right now I kind of like it in a long direction. Let me see if I get this one added on list. USO. There's a lot of room. I just don't know how. I don't know how fast and furious the Bulls are coming in, but that's a good support actually. Yeah, oil got clobbered. Emily says maybe Trump is a moon trader. Yeah, he's probably looking at the moon calendar too. I'm sure. In fact, they almost brought the wrong chart out. It was just a picture of the moon, and then they're like, "Oh wait, hold on, wrong one." ON, that one's getting clobbered as well. So the Nike competition also tanking. One little spot of support, 37.29. So maybe that's your bounce spot. However, your next target is probably taking you to about 38.25. Both of those kind of relatively small levels. The bigger support on this one is about 32.96. So, and it looks like we're already kind of breaking the 37.29 zone. So I think even though that's a big gap into a little bit of support, kind of still like it's short. Let's see if we get that one a little higher. Get that one a little bit higher. Mm. And then the other ones we can look at, let's take a look at Meta, META. Oh, you guys talking Mag 7. I've got zero support on Meta. I got nothing. Nothing on Meta. This is a clear breakdown of after we just retraced the 200. You have a couple spots in here where you have a double top. Otherwise, not really volume into this. I think Meta comes a little lower. That might be a good short. Other than that, again, market's moving fast. You don't have to move as fast as the market. Wait for your positions to come in. Wait for your trades to come in. But that is the morning bell. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. And